favorite students. Welcome to Coronavirus Sculpture class. I'm Mr. Moffat. Today we're going to make a human skull out of terracotta clay. Your assignment is to make a realistic human skull, so here's how you get started. You take a piece of newspaper and you crumple it up into a ball. You have to squish really, really hard because you don't want any unnecessary squishy paper airspace inside your skull. So that's start. I'm going to go with 2 pieces of paper. All right. Gonna do that and squish it real good. And then I'm going to take some masking tape just to make this paper ball kind of stay tight like I want it. Okay. That's pretty good. Then you're going to take some terracotta clay. This clay, terracotta, it's red and it will stain your clothes. And it's kind of hard to get off your hands too. But we use this clay because we fire this at a lower temperature than we fire all of our other clay. And I don't want to get it mixed up in the kiln. So this is a different color of clay so that I can keep it separate easier. So all you do is take some clay and squish it onto this ball, and your goal is to cover the ball. Okay, can you see it okay? All right, this method of sculpting is called modeling. Oh, there we go. This is called modeling because we are squishing and forming the clay. It's an additive process. So I can add clay to it and I can take clay away. You always want your clay to be moldable as you're doing a modeling project. You always want it to be soft and moldable. Okay, so now I've covered the ball of clay. What that's going to do is going to make it so that my clay is not super thick. If it's too thick, then it will explode in the kiln, or it will take a really long time to dry out, which we don't have that long. So I'm gonna just start blending my clay together. And I'm going to look at this and decide where I want the head of the skull to be. And to me, this part looks like a nice back of the skull. So I'm going to start adding clay on. And whenever you add clay on, you want to squish it in and smear it in with the other clay. Okay, you want it to be blended so much that it becomes one piece. Okay? And I'm going to add clay for the front part of the head. So, okay, I'm just going to keep adding clay and I squish it on really good. I don't want any air pockets when I squish one piece of clay onto another one. I want to make sure it's squished so much that there's no air pockets inside where it connects. Okay, so right now it's not looking much like a skull, but it'll get there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And my eyes are going to go right about here. And so I'm going to use that as my reference points for sculpting. Okay? So at first I start with just sculpting with my fingers. But then we're going to start using tools called modeling tools. This project is going to take several days to complete. So, okay, at the end of the day, when you're ready to wrap things up and wait till you come back for 2 more days, right? You have to wait a couple days. Then it's important that your clay doesn't dry out. That newspaper inside of the clay can suck moisture out of it, and just leaving it in the open air will make it dry out. So here's what I do. At the end of the day, I'll take my sculpture like this. At the end of the day, I take my sculpture like this, and I need to get a spray bottle, and I'll give it a little bit of a spray. Okay? You don't want to soak it, because if you get it too wet, it's going to turn your sculpture to mush. And then I'll take a plastic bag, and I completely cover it with plastic. I don't want any place for the moisture to escape, and I don't want anywhere for the air to get in. So I close it up like that, and I can put it on my storage shelf, just like this. If you want to be extra safe, you can double bag it. But this should be good for next class. The other thing I like to do, sometimes I'll wrap it with wet paper towels. I don't want the paper towels so wet that it makes my sculpture mushy. Get some wet paper towel, and I'll wrap my sculpture in wet paper towels. And then I'll take my plastic bag. If you use wet paper towels, always still cover it with plastic. If you don't cover it with plastic, the paper towels will dry out, your clay will dry out, and you'll come back to the next class and your sculpture is ruined. That's really sad. There we go. Mine's all covered up and ready to keep working next class. Sound good?